Hello, I'm Joey Sapp, a lawyer, scholar, hypnotist, therapist, and writer. This is an in-depth review, analysis, and critique of one of my books. I write on the law, magic, hypnotism, and policy. Enjoy.
Interested in, and that is how to turn life's setbacks into successes.
Yeah.
And to do that, we're going to be looking at excerpts from two sources today.
Okay.
The first is 5 Maps to Navigate Life's Challenges by Joseph E. Sapp, and the second is a piece called Alchemy of Self-Transformation.
Nice.
So get ready for some intriguing ideas about pseudo-legal myths.
Right.
The power of perception,
Yeah.
resilience building, and some really practical tools for transformation.
I'm excited.
Me too. So I think these sources work really well together. 5 Maps kind of uses this metaphor of maps to guide us through these challenges.
Right.
And then Alchemy of Self-Transformation dives into the more kind of inner work that's needed for growth.
I think you'll find they really complement each other well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So let's start with these 5 maps. What's the general idea here?
Well, Sapp lays out 5 maps,
Mm-hmm.
and he calls them legal labyrinth layout.
Okay.
Smoke and mirrors, ashes to arches,
I like that.
alchemy in action,
Yeah.
and behind the curtain.
Wow.
That kind of build upon each other.
Okay.
So we start with an understanding of the legal system.
Okay.
Then we move into perception and how perception can trip us up.
Right.
Then we talk about rebuilding after setbacks.
Mm.
Then personal transformation, and finally recognizing hidden patterns.
Cool. So it's like a step-by-step process to navigate life's challenges.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued already, especially by that first map, legal labyrinth layout.
Yes.
You know, it dives straight into those pseudo-legal myths that can really trip people up, like, those sovereign citizen claims we hear about.
Right.
Why do you think those myths are so appealing to people?
I think it's the allure of a simple solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
People want to believe there's a secret loophole that exempts them from the complexities of the legal system.
Right?
But unfortunately, those myths can have serious consequences because they simply don't work in the real world.
Yeah, it's like trying to use a fake map to navigate a city. You might think you're on the right track, but you'll end up lost and confused.
Exactly. And that's why Sapp emphasizes the importance of understanding the legal system as it is,
Right.
not as we wish it to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so once we have a solid understanding of the legal landscape, we move on to Smoke and Mirrors,
All right.
which is all about perception. This reminds me of those optical illusions that trick our brains.
It is very similar. Sapp connects those everyday illusions to how magicians use misdirection. So, while we're focused on one thing, something else is happening that we may not even notice.
Right.
He argues that we fall into similar mental traps in life, like confirmation bias,
Yes.
where we only see information that confirms our existing belief.
Oh, or that spotlight effect. When you think everyone is noticing every little flaw or mistake you make?
Yeah. We all are.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
It's a common cognitive bias that can make us overly self-conscious.
For sure.
Sapp's point is that our perception isn't always accurate. We need to be aware of these biases and learn to see things more objectively.
That's a great point. Okay, so we've busted some legal myths, and we've learned about the tricks our minds can play on us.
Right.
But what about when we face those inevitable setbacks in life?
Yeah.
That's where Ashes to Arches comes in.
Right.
Sapp provides a blueprint for rebuilding after hitting rock bottom.
He doesn't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
He uses a powerful illustration of someone losing everything in a house fire.
Oh, wow.
It's a stark reminder that anyone can face devastating setbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. But he also introduces a powerful concept he calls the hustler's mentality.
Yes, he does.
I'm curious, how does he define hustler's mentality? Because I usually associate that with something almost negative, like someone trying to cut corners.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
He uses the term not in a dishonest sense, but in terms of resourcefulness and strategic thinking.
Okay.
It's about taking inventory of what you still have,
Mm-hmm.
setting realistic goals,
Uh-huh.
and relentlessly pursuing them.
So it's about turning that pain and loss into fuel for rebuilding.
Exactly.
It's almost like, an athlete who suffers a career-ending injury,
Yeah,
but then channels that energy into coaching or mentoring others.
exactly. It's about identifying your assets,
Right.
whether they're tangible resources or intangible skills,
Uh-huh.
and then figuring out how to leverage them to rebuild.
Right.
And it's not just about the initial recovery.
Yeah.
It's about maintaining that drive
Yeah.
and adapting to new challenges as they arise.
That's a great point. And that leads perfectly into the idea of transforming those setbacks into opportunities for growth,
Yes.
which is where I think alchemy in action and the alchemy of self-transformation excerpts come into play.
Absolutely.
It's about shifting from a purely practical approach to a more internal focus,
Right.
looking at how we can use these experiences to evolve and become a better version of ourselves.
I like that.
Okay, so we've gone from debunking myths
Uh-huh.
to understanding perception to rebuilding from the ashes.
Right.
Now we're moving into the realm of personal transformation.
And that's where things get really fascinating.
I agree. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, both sources actually suggest several powerful tools for this transformation. Journaling,
Yeah.
visualization,
Uh-huh.
and experimentation.
Those all sound great in theory,
Yeah.
but can you give me some concrete examples of how someone might use them in a real-life situation?
Sure. Let's take the example of someone who's just lost their job.
Okay.
They could use journaling to process their feelings of disappointment and anxiety,
Okay.
perhaps identifying, recurring negative thoughts or limiting beliefs that are holding them back.
I can see how getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper could help you gain some clarity.
Absolutely. Then they could use visualization to imagine themselves in their ideal job, feeling confident and successful.
Okay.
This helps to reprogram their subconscious mind and attract opportunities that align with their vision.
It sounds almost like creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
In a way, it is.
Yeah.
And visualization isn't just about external goals either.
Oh, okay.
You can visualize yourself embodying certain qualities like confidence, resilience, or compassion.
So you're giving your subconscious mind a blueprint for the kind of person you want to become.
Exactly.
I love that. And then there's experimentation.
Yes,
The excerpt encourages us to treat life as a laboratory.
it does.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, it's about trying new approaches,
Uh-huh.
learning from what doesn't work, refining our methods,
Okay.
embracing a growth mindset where setbacks are valuable data points,
Right.
not the end of the world.
So instead of being afraid to fail,
Yeah,
we see failure as part of the learning process.
exactly.
I like that. So it doesn't have to be about making huge changes, right?
No, not at all.
It could be tweaking our routines, trying a new skill, or approaching a problem from a different angle.
Exactly.
It's about cultivating curiosity and being willing to step outside our comfort zones to see what happens.
Experimentation allows us to become more adaptable, resilient, and creative in our approach to life.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered debunking myth, we've covered perception rebuilding and transformation.
Uh-huh.
Let's move on to the final map, behind the curtain. What's going on behind the curtain, so to speak?
This map is all about recognizing and leveraging those hidden patterns that shape our lives, both for good and bad.
Okay, can you give me an example of one of these hidden patterns?
Think about scarcity tactics used in advertising.
Okay.
Those limited time offer or only 2 left in stock messages.
Yeah.
They're playing on our fear of missing out, creating a sense of urgency to influence our decisions.
Oh, so understanding that pattern helps me make a more conscious choice about whether I really need that item or if I'm just being manipulated by marketing tactics.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding manipulation.
Okay.
Understanding these patterns can also empower us.
How so?
For example, if you recognize the pattern of social proof, the idea that we're more likely to do something if we see others doing it.
Right.
You can use that to your advantage when building a business or promoting a cause.
Oh, so it's like having a secret decoder ring for the world around us.
Exactly.
The more we understand these patterns, the more effectively we can navigate them.
Exactly. It's about becoming aware of the forces that shape our choices.
Right.
And then consciously deciding how to respond, whether that's resisting manipulation or leveraging patterns to achieve our goals.
This is all so fascinating. We've gone from debunking myths to mastering our perception to recognizing hidden patterns.
It's quite a journey.
Before we move on, I'm curious to know how Sapp brings all these maps together.
He emphasizes that they're interconnected,
Okay.
each building on the previous, to create a comprehensive approach to navigating life's challenges.
So it's not about picking and choosing which map to use, but
Right.
rather understanding how they all work together.
Exactly. He uses a beautiful analogy of a spiral staircase. Each map represents a level, and as you ascend, you gain a broader and deeper understanding of how to navigate life's complexities.
I love that. It speaks to the cyclical nature of learning and growth.
Yes.
We might revisit similar challenges throughout our lives, but each time we approach them with a richer perspective and a wider range of tools.
That leads us to Sapp's concluding point.
Okay.
The idea of life as a spiral path, which we can explore in part 2. Picking up where we left off with Sapp's idea of this spiral path, it suggests that life's lessons often repeat.
Okay.
But each time we revisit them, we have a chance to gain a deeper understanding.
So you're saying it's not about reaching some final destination free of challenges. Instead, it's about embracing this continuous cycle of growth and learning.
That's exactly it. Sapp compares it to a spiral staircase.
Okay.
Each loop might bring us back to familiar territory. A relationship challenge, a career setback, a personal struggle.
Right.
But we're approaching it from a higher vantage point.
It's not just going in circles, we're actually ascending with each loop.
Yeah.
Exactly. We might be dealing with similar themes, but our perspective has evolved. Plus, we have more tools in our arsenal now.
Precisely. And that's where the 5 maps come in.
Okay.
They aren't meant to be rigid instructions, but rather guiding principles we can adapt and apply to different situations throughout our lives.
So the key takeaway here is that challenges are inevitable, but they aren't meant to break us.
Right.
They're opportunities for growth, for deepening our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Challenges are plot twists that add depth and complexity to our narrative.
I like that.
They don't define the whole story.
Speaking of plot twists, Sapp throws in a riddle at the end of the book.
Oh, yeah.
A wizard's riddle. It asks, if the map is not the territory yet the map shows the way, what is it that you carry when the map fades away?
That's a good one.
It is a thought-provoking question.
It is. What exactly do we take with us beyond the literal maps?
Yeah.
Beyond the specific advice and strategies?
I think the answer lies in the skills and qualities we develop through navigating challenges.
Okay.
Resilience, critical thinking, discernment, the ability to transform setbacks into opportunities.
I think you're right. Those are the true treasures.
Yeah.
They stay with us long after the maps have faded,
Right.
becoming part of who we are and how we approach the world.
Sapp emphasizes that the journey doesn't end when we close the book.
Right.
It's an ongoing process. He challenges us to become the map makers, the guides, the alchemists for others who are facing their own challenges.
I love that. It's about paying it forward,
Yeah.
using the wisdom and insights we've gained to help others navigate their own spiral paths.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered the 5 maps, the spiral path, and the transformative power of challenges. But there's one more piece of the puzzle I want to make sure we touch on.
Okay.
And those are those practical come-up pathways that Sapp outlines in the Appendices.
Right.
He goes beyond the theoretical here
He does.
and offers some tangible advice for people facing real-world hardship.
That's what I appreciate about Sapp's approach.
Yeah.
He doesn't just talk about concepts. He provides concrete strategies that people can implement right away.
Exactly. So he identifies 5 archetypes of people facing difficulties.
Okay.
The hustler, the addict seeking redemption, the ex-con, the opportunist, and the minimalist builder.
And for each archetype, he outlines a step-by-step pathway
Right.
with specific actions they can take to start rebuilding their lives.
Yeah.
It's like a toolkit for navigating tough times.
What I find insightful is that he doesn't assume everyone has the same resources or support system.
Right.
He acknowledges that some people are starting from absolute zero
Uh-huh.
with limited options and significant barriers.
Let's take the hustler archetype as an example.
Okay.
Sapp describes this person as being broke hungry, possibly homeless, and lacking specific job skills.
It's a pretty bleak picture.
It is. But Sapp doesn't dwell on the negativity.
Okay.
He jumps straight into solutions, prioritizing immediate needs like food and shelter.
So what does he suggest?
He suggests practical things like checking local shelters and churches for meals,
Okay.
utilizing resources like the Tool Oven Helpline,
Uh-huh.
and even dumpster diving strategically.
Dumpster diving. That
Yeah.
might sound extreme to some people.
It might. But Sapp emphasizes doing it strategically and safely,
Okay.
focusing on places like grocery stores that discard edible food at closing time.
So it's about survival.
Right.
About meeting those basic needs while you're working on a longer-term plan.
Exactly. He even suggests some fast cash hustles that don't require special skills,
Like what?
like collecting and selling scrap metal or offering to clean car windshields for tips.
So it's about being resourceful
Yes.
and using what's available to generate income and move towards stability.
From there, he outlines steps towards securing small jobs,
Okay.
finding safe housing, and eventually building skills for more sustainable employment.
So it's a roadmap out of that initial crisis.
Exactly.
His approach is very compassionate.
It is.
He acknowledges these different starting points and tailors his advice accordingly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about the addict-seeking redemption archetype?
Okay, yeah. This person is at rock bottom due to addiction.
Right.
Potentially estranged from family and lacking resources.
In this situation, immediate priorities are detoxification and finding a safe environment.
So what are some concrete steps they can take?
Sapp suggests seeking help from detox centers or emergency rooms,
So
emphasizing that state-run facilities can't turn people away.
that's good to know.
He also recommends avoiding high-risk environments and seeking support from churches or organizations that offer respite, even if it's temporary.
So just getting out of those situations that might trigger a relapse.
Exactly. Then there's applying to rehab programs or halfway houses,
Okay.
and utilizing resources like AA or NA meetings to find leads and support.
It's all about getting connected to a community
Right.
that understands the challenges of addiction and can offer guidance and accountability.
Once that initial stabilization phase is underway,
Yeah.
Sapp suggests exploring early job pathways, such as working within the rehab center or connecting with recovery-friendly employers.
So using those existing networks.
Yes, there's also the option of using creative skills like busking to generate income.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's about rebuilding self-esteem,
Right.
regaining a sense of purpose, and finding ways to contribute while on the path to recovery.
Okay, so moving on to the ex-con or legal outsider. This archetype faces unique challenges
They do.
due to a criminal record which can create barriers to employment and housing.
This is where re-entry programs and services become absolutely crucial.
What does Sapp recommend?
He suggests reporting to a halfway house if required by parole,
Okay.
or seeking assistance from organizations that specialize in helping ex-offenders reintegrate into society.
So finding those support systems that are specifically designed for this situation?
Exactly. He also emphasizes utilizing resources like food banks and pantries,
Okay.
using release papers as proof of hardship to access these services.
That makes sense. What about income? It can be really tough to find a job with a criminal record.
He suggests starting with cash-based services like junk removal hauling or moving,
Okay.
leveraging online platforms or local networks to find gigs.
So things that don't require a background check.
Exactly. He even encourages partnering with other recently released individuals to pool resources and expand their reach
It's about finding strength and support and shared experiences.
as they gain some stability.
Yeah?
He advises seeking employment with felony-friendly employers,
Okay.
attending re-entry job fairs, and even utilizing legal aid to explore options for expunging or sealing their record.
So it's about acknowledging the systemic barriers that exist for people with criminal records,
Right.
while also empowering them to take proactive steps to overcome those barriers.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to the opportunist archetype.
Okay, so this person might be broke,
Yeah.
but they're resourceful, clever, and willing to hustle within legal or gray areas to get back on their feet.
This is where entrepreneurial spirit meets street smarts.
I like that. So what kind of hustles does Sapp suggest for this archetype?
He suggests starting with flipping free items found on online platforms or discarded on curbsides.
Okay.
It's about seeing value where others might not. Cleaning, repairing, and reselling items for profit.
So turning trash into treasure.
Exactly. He also recommends reselling bulk snacks or drinks in high-traffic areas,
Okay.
targeting events or transit stops where people are looking for quick refreshments.
That's clever. When it comes to housing, what does he suggest?
He suggests leveraging existing networks,
Okay.
offering help with chores or errands in exchange for temporary accommodation.
So utilizing social capital,
Exactly.
being transparent about your situation, and offering value in return for support.
And as they generate income,
Yeah.
he encourages upgrading to more lucrative flips, investing in tools or resources that can increase their earning potential.
So it's about scaling up,
Right?
moving from survival mode to building a sustainable income stream.
Precisely. And finally, we have the minimalist builder.
Okay, this archetype represents someone starting from absolute rock bottom, willing to rebuild methodically with minimal resources.
This pathway requires resilience, patience, and a focus on the essentials.
So where do they even begin?
Sapp suggests starting by finding free shelters or safe camping spots
Okay.
and utilizing food banks and pantries to stretch limited resources.
Right, meeting those basic needs first.
Exactly. He also recommends panhandling strategically.
Panhandling.
Yes, using a sign that communicates honesty and a genuine desire to get back on your feet.
So it's about appealing to people's compassion
Right.
while also maintaining your dignity.
As they accumulate some savings,
Yeah.
he emphasizes the importance of acquiring a prepaid phone and a basic ID if lost.
Right, because those are essential for so many things.
They are. They're essential tools for accessing jobs and services.
It's about rebuilding those foundational pieces that allow you to participate in the formal economy.
He also encourages utilizing public libraries to search for job postings and apply for entry-level positions,
Okay.
focusing on building a solid work history.
So starting small and working your way up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And as their situation improves, he suggests transitioning to shared housing or affordable co-living spaces
Okay.
and investing in work gear that expands their job options.
It's a step-by-step approach focusing on incremental progress and long-term sustainability.
We've really explored a wide range of pathways here.
We have. It's clear that Sapp has a deep understanding of the complexities of facing hardship
Yes.
and a genuine desire to offer practical solutions.
These pathways are inspiring examples of how resourcefulness, strategic thinking, and a willingness to ask for help can make a huge difference.
It's about empowering people to take control of their situation one step at a time.
In addition to the 5 main archetypes, Sapp includes 10 more come-up pathways in Appendix B,
Wow.
catering to various situations and needs.
So he really covers a lot of ground.
He does. He
Okay.
covers everything from scavenging and recycling to online hustles and building community support networks.
He even includes a section with 25 soundbite life hacks for people facing hardship,
He does.
focusing on practical tips for surviving and thriving in difficult circumstances.
These hacks range from protecting your ID and finding safe places to sleep to maintaining hygiene and utilizing free resources.
So just really practical advice for navigating those day-to-day challenges.
Exactly. They're like little nuggets of wisdom that can have a big impact on someone's day-to-day life.
Sapp clearly put a lot of thought and care into providing guidance that is both practical and empowering.
And what I appreciate most is that he doesn't present these pathways as one-size-fits-all solutions.
Right.
He acknowledges that everyone's journey is unique and encourages readers to adapt these strategies to their own circumstances.
It's about providing a framework,
Uh-huh.
a set of tools that people can use to create their own personalized roadmap to success.
And that's a valuable takeaway from this entire deep dive.
I agree.
Challenges are inevitable,
Yeah.
but we're not powerless against them. We have the ability to transform setbacks into opportunities, to navigate complexity, to build resilience, and to create a life that aligns with our values and aspirations.
So what are your key takeaways?
Hmm.
What insights sparked your curiosity or inspired you to take action?
That's a great question.
As we move into part 3 of our deep dive, we'll explore some additional insights from Alchemy of Self-Transformation,
Okay.
diving deeper into the transformative tools of journaling, visualization, and experimentation. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much ground already, from legal labyrinths to hidden patterns and everything in between.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. So in this final part, let's zero in on the Alchemy of Self-Transformation excerpts and those powerful tools for turning setbacks into growth opportunities.
That was good.
So think of it as taking what we've learned from 5 maps and adding an inner dimension. You know, the mindset shifts and practices that can accelerate that transformation.
Right. It's about going beyond just the external strategies.
Exactly. So we touched on journaling and visualization earlier, but let's dive a bit deeper. What makes journaling such a powerful tool for transformation?
Well, it's like having a heart-to-heart with yourself, but on paper.
Yeah.
And by writing things down, we often gain new perspectives. It helps us uncover hidden patterns in our thinking and identify those pesky limiting beliefs that are holding us back.
I find that journaling is especially helpful when I'm feeling overwhelmed or confused. It's like decluttering my mind.
That's a great way to put it. Journaling creates space for fresh insights and solutions to emerge.
Yeah. And the excerpt also highlights the importance of understanding our emotions, not just what we think, but how we feel about things.
That's a crucial point. It's not about ignoring or suppressing our feelings, but about acknowledging them and understanding where they come from.
Right. So journaling allows us to explore those emotions in a safe space and develop greater self-awareness, which is essential for personal growth.
Exactly. And that brings us to visualization, which the excerpt describes as vividly imagining our desired outcome, focusing our energy and actions toward it.
So it's like creating a mental movie of our ideal future, engaging all our senses to make it feel real.
Precisely. And the science behind visualization is fascinating. By repeatedly picturing a positive outcome, we're actually training our brains to recognize opportunities and make choices that align with that vision.
It sounds almost like creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
In a way, it is. And visualization isn't just about external goals either. We can also visualize ourselves embodying certain qualities, like confidence, resilience, or compassion.
So we're giving our subconscious mind a blueprint for the kind of person we want to become.
Exactly.
I love that. And then there's experimentation. The excerpt really encourages us to treat life as a laboratory.
It does. What does that look like in practice?
Well, I think it's about, trying new approaches, learning from what doesn't work, and refining our methods. Embracing that growth mindset where setbacks are valuable data points, not the end of the world.
Right. So instead of being afraid to fail, we see failure as part of the learning process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about making huge changes, right? It could be just tweaking our routines, trying a new skill, or approaching a problem from a different angle.
I agree. It's about cultivating curiosity and being willing to step outside our comfort zones to see what happens.
And experimentation allows us to become more adaptable, more resilient, and more creative in our approach to life.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's reflect on these powerful tools for personal transformation. Journaling, visualization, and experimentation. How might you incorporate them into your own journey of turning setbacks into successes? What are some things you're going to try?
That's a great question for everyone listening. Remember, challenges are inevitable, but they don't have to define us. We have the power to choose how we respond, to learn from our experiences, and to emerge stronger and wiser.
And as Joseph Sapp reminded us, life is a spiral path. We might revisit similar challenges, but each time we have the opportunity to approach them with greater understanding and a wider array of tools.
Embrace the journey. Embrace the challenges, the setbacks, the triumphs. You have within you the power to transform those experiences into fuel for growth and create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling.
Beautifully said. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of knowledge and ideas.